Hi, you are watching SightsIn and this is Romesh. Please to subscribe the channel for the HR news, for HR updates, and conversation with the top two CHROs, thought leaders, and business heads. Today, we are going to discuss how AI is reshaping the HR. And joining us, Mr. Srinivasa Bharathy, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Adrenalin eSystems Ltd. Welcome, Mr. Bharti, to SightsIn Plus.
Hi, Romesh, and thanks for welcoming me again for into SightsIn Plus.
Yeah,
Glad to share my views.
It's pleasure, always pleasure to reconnect with you.
Sure.
So, Mr. Bharti, I was going through data that there is a sharp rise in uses of the AI in HR and how the HR professionals are using now. So there is one data that in last year, 2024, around 58 to 60% HR professionals they were using the AI. And as far as the adoption in 2025 is concerned, so according to different surveys, data may vary. That is around 72 to 80% HR professionals that are adopting the artificial intelligence now. So this is the one data. Another important fact is that recently, Sam Altman he has also released his GPT-5, and this GPT-5 is according to him, this is around this is stepping closer to general artificial intelligence. So and that is cognitive abilities with that cognitive abilities, and now they're calling it is not only AI tool, this is a kind of strategic thought partner. So these are the updates. So how do you see how the AI is reshaping the human resources?
Yeah. So GPT-5, of course, is the latest among a long line of versions that have come out. Not only from ChatGPT, but I think we are also seeing many others releasing newer and newer versions as we go along. Intelligence, in a way, what was missing, or rather, what was a gap earlier, is being filled very, very fast, right? Which is, how do I build memory into AI? How do I build reasoning? And how do I build actual, like you said, AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. I think that is really progressing at breakneck speed, and it is all of us who are playing catch up in a way, right? Specifically with respect to HR, I think the impact of how AI has been seen. It's been seen individually. I think most HR professionals have started using this for sure. But then the interesting thing is going to be, how is this going to get weaved into our way of work? And while usage may be very like for a point kind of a usage, which means I want to have a small help. I want to actually get an answer to a question. I want to create a job description, whatever. So I use this for specific purposes today. But over a period of time, I think we will see the power of the AI being really used in the flow of work itself. And like you said, augmenting the HR function is how we will see this. There is obviously the threat of people thinking that I may lose my job for etc. etc. I think people may not lose jobs, but it may reshape the skills needed to stay in your job. So that is, I think, going to be the primary effect of how AI is progressing. Thought partner is a good term that you used. And I think not just as thought partners, we are also telling them as intelligent assistants, intelligent assistants. We are calling it IntelliAssist in a way. So intelligent assistants to conversational partners, to thought partners, certainly I think is going to be the future. But then the interesting part is adoption of AI in HR is certainly increasing. But I think I still feel most of them are experimenting with it at this point in time, with a lot of views and opinions about understanding how these will fit into an organizational context at this point. Individually, it still helps a lot. But how do I fit it into my organizational context? How do I build a culture around this? Culture has always been seen as a human thing. Can I actually build a culture where AI is also a participant in the culture? And how do I build that culture in an organization? These are all going to be very interesting topics in the future.
So that is as you're talking about the AGI, artificial general intelligence. So that is closer to somehow as Altman is also talking about human intelligence. So might be we can see very soon the participation in culture part. And as far as the adoption of AI is concerned, so as you said, might be most of the people are still at the learning stage. They are experimenting how to do it, and might be the pilot projects. They are working on the pilot projects. So that is of course that is happening right now. And as a HR tech company, what do you see? Because artificial intelligence is with all the HR functions, maybe from talent acquisition, then your onboarding, then performance management, every function, employee engagement, experience. How do you see this is an opportunity? Many companies you see, maybe the Cognizant and even Wipro and many companies they have declared that we have started using the AI agents and they are replacing the people might be in HR as well. Also, they are replacing the people in HR with their AI agent. So overall, how do you see this is opportunity for the HR tech companies? And overall, how do you see the human resource functions maybe in next 5 years, you may call it?
So very interestingly, we are seeing a huge momentum of needs from organizations to implement AI embedded HR. You know, our momentum is actually like never before in that sense. Now, I think people have started realizing that HR as a function can certainly leverage a lot of AI in the way it works. So, like you said, if I actually look at the entire cycle, I would look at it into, put it into five buckets. How does it help in acquisition? How does it help in operations, which is my day-to-day operations of HR, which is, I think, a large chunk of that today AI might start, AI will start doing. How do I actually look at talent development, right? How do I look at development of talent? How do I, look at engagement with people? Will that help there? And how do I derive insights, about how my talent is performing, what is happening with my talent, and how will, I try find the right fitment for a particular role? How do I actually plan for succession? How do I benchmark my offers against industry? I can do a lot of I can derive a lot of insights using AI. That would, I think, elevate the HR's role. Sometimes when you talk to HR people, they actually say, when do I get a seat on the executive table, or when do I get a seat on the boardroom? I think this is the perfect chance today, because we know that a lot of people's time in the HR function is dragged down by operational things, by operational matters. And when AI starts taking those over, there's so much of free time for them to start looking at strategy and looking at how talent strategy can align with business objectives and put those, ideas into action, which means I can focus more on what are the learning initiatives I need for my managers and leaders in the future, right? What are the learning initiatives and interventions that would actually change the mindset of people in my organization? So these are thought process, for example, that CHRO can actually implement. Though a lot of people think of implementing, they get dragged down by a lot of operational issues. You're always on your toes when the payroll is running. You're always on your toes when attendance, and integration of operations with payroll has to happen, etc., etc. All these operational hassles, I think, will possibly be a thing of the past.
Operational things, and you also remind me very good, it is elevating to the HR professionals because they're having the data now. Might be
Exactly.
in which area of the this country, HR, their sales professionals are not working fine. what are the reasons why there's a drop in performance. So you have the data right now for the attrition, for the engagement, for everything. You have the data, and you can work on the data. So that is this is helping them to elevate. So yeah, right, you
So
said. Yeah,
I'll tell you
please.
an example. For example, we were looking at, so we are actually seeing a big momentum of growth in certain overseas countries, and immediately we had to look at how do I find the right people whom I can immediately, temporarily at least move to a new country till the time I can actually set a subsidiary there, set a local presence there, get some new people there, etc. And earlier it used to be an exercise, where we will actually sit down and say, okay, what are the skill sets? What are the roles I need? How do I map these roles to the requirement here? Et cetera, et cetera. Then, that used to be a long drawn exercise. Today, we have what we call as a Navi agent. We actually click that and say, bring me the profiles who are suitable to be moved to Manila, for example, or to South Africa, for example, and I get a list of 10 people. Right now, my work has been reduced. The grunt work is gone. I'm actually focusing on talking to those people, understanding their views, understanding their aspirations, as a person-to-person connect, and thinking of how I can move them quickly. So the release of time that my CHRO has had is enormous.
Continuously there is a updation of data. So because everything is automatic,
Correct.
so there's a continuous updation of data. There's no pause. And after 6 months, if you drive the data, so you can find out the good results. You can
Yeah.
take a decision based on this data. So definitely it's having. But another point is, so right now, in the market there are small companies, big companies, lot of companies are there which are working on the AI models. But everything is not artificial intelligence. Maybe
Yeah.
if you are only the automatic process, there may be only some data is fed there. You are getting some inputs, but everything is not artificial intelligence. So there is also intelligence is needed for
Confusion.
the HR professional. Which product we should buy? How do you see this picture?
So I know there are a lot of people who claim and also say that I have AI agents now into the system. So there's a lot of confusion in the market too, both from the seller side and the buyer side, right? So from the seller side, of course, how do you distinguish between claims that are genuine versus false claims? And how does a buyer really know where do I use and leverage these correctly? For example, I may not need an agent for every single thing that I do, right? There are certain things still at this point in time which is better left to humans, to do rather than trying to actually automate the hell out of everything. So from a rule-based engine, which was there, 30 years ago, possibly, people still, today you may call a rule-based engine as an AI engine. So people may just start doing that. In fact, I think when I visited a customer recently, I think they were asking me, but this thing, even an RPA used to do earlier. Robotic process automation has been there for many years, and there are many platforms who offer that. Now, what's the big deal? What's different between RPA and autonomous agents and reasoning agents? And so there is a continuum that has been there, which I think there is some education needed in the market for sure. And it's because it's a fast evolving market and a trend that is catching up very fast. I would encourage the CHROs and the buyers to kind of update themselves on the basics of what this technology is all about and learn how to distinguish between real and fake claims. And these can only be based, I think, on outcomes, right? So how do I measure outcomes, and for example, one of the things we did, in a large organization where we were, looking at processing of a huge number of payroll claims, that people employees just attach whatever bills they have for their claims. We used to have a set of all 20, 30 people who were processing these claims in the last 2 days of payroll, etc. By providing them with a series of autonomous agents, about 20, 12 or 13 of them, we just crunched the time to just having two people managing the entire show. And this outcome convinced the customer that, okay, these guys are actually working on agents and they are not writing some rule-based engine to manage this. Right? It's not an OCR thing that we are doing, but we are actually using some, agentic, processes to clear these claims. So unless they see the outcomes and they actually can understand it, a lot of it will be, very difficult to distinguish. I think so. I hope HR tech providers provide ways for customers to experience these outcomes, while they make their buying decision.
So I think very beautifully you have elaborated at how to distinguish and the tool. And second important thing is, you have also used two very important terminologies: rule-based engine, and now we are coming to the AI embedded or technology embedded HR currently. So there is also some shift in mindset. So
Yeah.
if you are still with the that mindset, like kind of rule-based mindset, so I think you may not be comfortable in this atmosphere right now. So how do you see that what the mindset change is also required in HR fraternity, in HR professionals?
Yeah. I think first is always curiosity is good. While there is a proverb that says curiosity killed the cat. I think in this case, you got to be curious to learn, and learning and understanding the fundamentals are important, and being aware of the risks involved and what safeguards you need to do in order to mitigate those risks. So while all this, when I claim something is all is may seem hunky dory, it is still not so very hunky dory in that sense for an enterprise. We need to understand that agents can still hallucinate. Agents can give, AI can still hallucinate. AI can, obviously without guide rails and guardrails, they can, go offhand. So, how do we provide for guide rails and guardrails that are needed? How do I actually learn to build these guardrails? How do I actually, ensure that the AI we use is trained on the policies that we want to implement in our organization, for example? And how do I build governance into that? How do I ensure that it is acting the way it should? And those are things that people, I would urge them to learn. So keeping a learning mindset is important, and being curious and keeping an open mind to understand and experience the outcomes that I was saying earlier. These are important parts of how a typical HR leader or HR functionary could, enhance their own ability to implement it for their organization, right? So I think the key point I would think is learning and curiosity.
Yeah, definitely. Curiosity, that is always number one. So first you have the curiosity,
Correct.
then learning, your learning ability, learnability, that is a very important factor. Maybe the technology, anything else. So that is very important. So I think we have been tried to cover the subject at how it is reshaping. Anything else which is important and we did not touch, you would like to share?
So I think HR tech from a HR tech provider perspective, I would urge HR tech providers to look at this as an opportunity, and also be transparent and be open about what are the risks involved, what are the what are the benefits, and what are the kind of outcomes that can actually be enabled using AI. At the same time, I think they should also guide buyers and users into how they can evaluate something that is fit for purpose, right? So just buying something for buying sake or using something just because that has been provided may not really suit your particular need at that point in time, right? So there are two things. My organization is moving, the needle, and at each point in time, my need could be slightly different. And understanding how I can fit that, the HR tech platform at that point in time is an important aspect that I would urge people to, consider.
Definitely. So there is, as far as the adoption of AI is concerned, so definitely it is on rise, and there's a huge rise. In last 1 year, we have seen, maybe the data may vary here and there, but definitely there's a huge rise. People are curious now to use the artificial intelligence for their profession. We are talking about the HR, so for the HR professionals, and curiosity and learnability. That is, as you said, that is very important. Thank you so much, Mr. Bharti, for joining us and
Thank you.
sharing your wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ramesh. Thanks a lot.